passing through the depths of outer space.
Hello, I'm alive. I don't know what's going on.
By your command. Fascinating.
God damn you all to hell!
It's the Solar Sci-Fi Podcast. This is episode 84 of the Solar One Sci-Fi Podcast. Michael Ball on the show again.
It's my turn for intro this week, actually.
But I started it.
Well, I'm going
I
to
started it. I'm sorry.
phone my MP up then.
My co-host is very upset on episode 84, and that is from Martin's Sci-Fi Appeal, great channel with some great content, Martin Fowler. Hello, Martin. How are you again?
Thank you very much. Hello to my fellow co-host, Michael Ball, a.k.a. Coconut. And hello to you, sir. How are you?
And hello. And hello. It's good. And hello. I'm fine, thank you. Hello. What's the latest with you over in London town? Anything interesting to report to the world?
No, not really. It's all been a bit boring.
It's all a bit
nothing really to report, really.
No.
I went to a comic event. That was about it, really.
I went to a christening, which was, it was a naming day thing, but that was very nice in Weybridge. I went to that over the weekend. And I talked to a friend of mine who is quite a big Doctor Who fan, so we had a good chat about stuff like that. And it was funny because when he went up there wasn't much sign of any kind of social distancing. There wasn't like masks and stuff like that. So it's kind of nice in some ways to feel that there's a bit more relaxed, but I'm still adjusting. But it was a very nice day. What else have I been doing? Although the weather was terrible, but then it's always the way, isn't it? When you have some sort of like big thing coming up, the weather sort of like decides to come down. Apparently, parts of London were quite flooded over the weekend.
Yes, it happened at 3 o'clock in the morning. So I saw it on the news. Yeah.
Was that? You were okay in your area, though, eh? You went to.
Well, I live on the 3rd floor, so I've got a diving board.
So it'd be quite bad if it had been reaching your level, shouldn't it?
Yeah, I've got a dinghy and I have a diving board.
And you got a rubber ducky as well, so you'll be okay.
And I just sail down to the shops and come back, you know. So
that's right. You just need to get a canoe or something, and you'll be even better, won't you? Get a canoe and get yourself a pint of milk, and you're sorted. I watched the first 2 episodes I've watched out of 9, and we'll talk about this before we started recording. A show called Squid Game. Now this show is sort of gone quite viral, and it's kind of like, it reminds me of a number of things. It reminds me a bit of Cube. With these people, it's not a game, but it's kind of thing where there's almost like traps in the room. It's almost like a game, even though it's not a game, where they face things and there's potential hazards. But it also reminds me of a lot of those sort of Japanese, Korean kind of shows that we're aware of, like Endurance, which was featured on Clive James in the 80s, and Takeshi's Castle.
I'd say...
with Craig Charles, which is quite. So it's like that, but it's obviously it's a drama, but it's got a sort of sci-fi tint, cult sort of aspect to it, and I think so far it's very enjoyable. So if you get the chance to give it a go, because it's got lots of mysteries and stuff, but it's right on my alley. So I'm sure that other people, if they're checking this out, they may well be aware of it already. So so far I like it. Martin, if you check out some episodes, we'll discuss that in the weeks to come along. But well worth a watch. That's pretty much it. Nothing major else to report. Just humdrum. We've got a bit of sci-fi news, but again, even that's not so major. So unless there's anything else, shall we go into our focus of the week?
I'm just uploading the news now. I'm going to check out Squid Game. It's on Netflix.
Yeah, it's on Netflix. That's where I'm watching it.
Yes.
And check it out if you get the chance. So it might not be a cup of tea, but I was quite pulled in from episode 1. We tried watching a show on Netflix called Prison Break. And I have tried, and I could not get into it. I watched the first season. I started with the second season. It is good. I just didn't click with it. I don't know why. Sometimes it's a show that you just don't sort of click with. So I've given up on that.
I was in and out with Prison Break. Yeah,
I just couldn't get into it.
I was sort of in and out with it, so I moved on.
But I'm into season 2 of the Dark Matter. So that's good so far. So that's interesting how that's going. So we're going to probably do that show So done all the graphics, not next week, the week after. So it should be quite interesting. Yeah, let's go to this focus of the week, because this is going to be an interesting one, and this is one I want to run by with you. So let's hit the jingle. Here we go.
It's the
Solar Sci-Fi
focus of the week.
All right, so this is what a show. It's a film based made in the early '60s. I think it was the early '60s.
Yep.
It was. I'm going to get the information up, but I'm going to talk while I'm discussing.
CMDF. I can tell you what that stands for.
Yeah, you tell me a bit about it as I'm loading up some information about it.
CMDF stands for Complete Miniaturization Defense Force.
Okay, I didn't know that. But I mean, there's...
SHADO stands for Supreme Headquarters Alien Defense Organization. UNCLE stands for United Network Law Enforcement.
You know your stuff, don't you? You certainly know your stuff.
Because I've got no life. I'm sad.
No, you're not. No, you're not. You just happen to appreciate cult TV and science fiction. Now, this is the film that I mean, I'll ask you when you first saw it, but it's one of those films that I can't really remember watching for the first time. It's been on so many times on live TV. It's definitely a classic. But it says here in Wikipedia, it says Fantastic Voyage is a 1966 American submarine science fiction adventure, directed by Richard Feischler and written by Harry Kleiner, based on the story by Otto Clement and Jerome Bixby. The film is about a submarine crew who are shrunk to microscopic size and venture into the body of an injured scientist to repair damage to his brain. Kleiner abandoned all but the concept of miniaturization and added a Cold War element. Yeah, I suppose there was. The film stars Stephen Boyd, Raquel Welch, Edmund O'Brien, Donald Pleasance, and Arthur Kennedy. And it was based on a paperback novelization. The movie was inspired by animated television of the same name and helped popularize the concept of miniaturization in science fiction, along with The Incredible Shrinking Man, which is a film I love, and especially the idea of doing so to travel inside the human body, being constantly referenced and parodied in multiple media. There was another film with Dennis Quaid that did it in the 80s.
Yes, there was.
What was that film called? I forgot what it was called.
In space.
In the space, as you said it, I remember, which I really did enjoy that as well.
I love that film.
So tell me about this original film, Fantastic Voyage.
There's 2 sequels to this film as well.
Well, tell me about that, and then tell me first of all how you saw the film.
I saw it on the BBC as a kid. It freaked me out.
Did it? Yeah, because I thought
when I first saw it, it terrified me. I watched it. It was like when BBC was showing sci-fi movies every week, and I watched it. It terrified me. I couldn't get my head around that. They shrunk these people down and put them inside the body. Do you know what I mean? The concept was absolutely mind-blowing.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, the scenes I remember so frightening from the film are the scene where they're outside. I think they're in the ear or something, and then the antibodies start trying to attack them, and they sort of and then they're climbing into the submarine, and they've got bits of the antibodies sort of turning to crystal and drying off and falling off. And Donald Pleasance's character's demise at the end when
he's saying, "Get me
out!" He's a spy, which goes back to what this Wikipedia said about it having a Cold War element. There was definitely some political parallels, I think. I don't know who it was. Go on.
The scientists who came up, they could only miniaturize something for 1 hour.
But
the scientists had the answer that you could put an entire army in a bottle and then take it somewhere and just enlarge it. That each side wanted that, and that's basically it. And Donald Pleasance were this like spy. But if they started growing after an hour, the antibodies would attack them.
Right.
The minute they started growing, they'd be attacked, and that freaked me out. It really freaked me out.
I think, I can't remember if I saw this before I saw The Shrinking Man, but The Shrinking Man, again, was also terrifying. But in many ways, this was more frightening because you were almost in a completely different alien world on the submarine. Yep. It had a sort of feeling of like starship exploration from Star Trek, but it was miniaturization, exploring the body. And then, of course, trying to repair this brain damage with these laser beams and stuff like that. I just felt that it was a very, very solid film. I think it still stands up quite well today. And I just think that it had a great cast of characters. I mean, do you think? Are you surprised that they haven't made another Fantastic Voyage? I know they did Inner Space, which you've already mentioned, but are you surprised that they haven't sort of redone it again with a big kind of blockbuster thing, or do you think? I'm surprised that it's been missed.
I think if you found out about the sequel, you'd be wanting that more than the first one.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm surprised actually, especially with today's effects.
That's what I'm saying.
It would be amazing. I mean, that film at the time was the latest in special effects. I mean, I think it holds up beautifully today.
Yeah, Fantastic Voyage. It's one of the films in that era that I remember. I mean, War of the Worlds, 1953 is the one I remember, and then this is there as well.
Yep.
And then, of course, several years later, you had 2001. But there's only a few films from that era which really just still look so good, even now. It's one of those few films, the submarine model shots in the body were really, really creepy.
Each decade has like one or two.
At that point,
highly
only
intelligent
a few
movies.
Yeah,
and this is up there with 2001, definitely. Because it was so different, wasn't it? It's a unique film, and they haven't even really copied it, really, apart from Inner Space.
That's what I'm saying.
Which is weird.
But Inner Space did it, but they did it in more of a comedic way. And with all due respect to Inner Space, it did it very good as well.
It did.
I really enjoyed Inner Space. I think it's a real classic film. I love watching it. I've not seen it for quite a long time, but every time I've seen it, some of the daft scenes in that film. But of course, this was more of a serious science fiction concept film. And I just think that like I said, it just really stands out. I mean, did you like? Do you think Donald Pleasance was good in his character as the kind of?
Donald Pleasance is good in anything he does.
Yeah,
he plays the villain to a T. He's just awesome as Donald Pleasance, scary and creepy. And I just love him for that. And Raquel Welch,
I was going to say Raquel Welch in the rubber suits.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. So tell me about these sequels that you took. What was this about these sequels that you mentioned?
Well, in the early 70s, there was a cartoon series called Fantastic Voyage.
I've never seen it. Have you seen it?
Yeah, I've got it on DVD. It's on YouTube, actually. It's really, the artwork is superb. It's about CMDF. They go around defending the world. I mean, it's complete bollocks, but they shrink them down and they investigate weird things in the world.
Okay.
They only made, I think, 13 episodes and scrapped it. But now that was like a standard thing. It was clever what they did, but it's worth it just to watch the artwork for it, because it is really weird. But now, this is where it gets interesting. Are you on Wikipedia right now?
I can go into it as you talk.
There was a sequel book written to Fantastic Voyage, and that. I'd never understand why they never attempted the sequel, because the sequel, I think, could stand as good as the first one.
Well, I was going to. The next question I was going to ask is whether Fantastic Voyage did well in the box office.
I think
it
did.
Wikipedia, it says, according to Box Records, the film needed $9,400,000 in rentals to break even and made $8,880,000.
Oh, sorry.
Meaning initially it showed a slight loss, but television sales moved it back into the black, and subsequent home videos were almost entirely profit. So it sounds to me like at the time it was made, it didn't do so well, but in subsequent years and decades, with obviously rental and videos and everything else, it made money, which might explain why a direct sequel wasn't made.
I mean, this was 60s, wasn't it? I mean, a lot of people are not going to get their head around that,
Do you think it would have actually thrown a lot of people out at that time? It would have been a bit too high concept?
I think a lot of people are sat there going, what the bloody hell is this? I mean, I look at it and you look at it as a masterpiece of highly intelligent
because it was such a clever idea. Absolutely.
It was so unique. And I've wondered that for decades. Why have they never remade it?
I was going to say, when I started recording this today with you, that question's popped in my head literally as we're recording this now. Why has it not either had a sequel but it wouldn't have a sequel. Why not have a proper big budget remake?
It's based on it's a novel. Originally, it was a book.
Yeah.
And there was
It's
a
strange,
sequel,
though.
and the sequel book is what I think would have been the crowning jewel.
I think it would make money. I think it's a bit like when The Matrix came out. I think that's another example of a film that threw.
Yeah, I do. One of them films.
And so but then once you've got used to the concept and it becomes more well known, that's when its popularity builds. And I think that's what happened both with The Matrix and with Fantastic Voyage.
Well, we've had flop movies, and then suddenly when they go to home video and
they suddenly take off.
And they get the money back over time. Fantastic Voyage have made its money 3 times over since it got released.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Through television and video and DVD and streaming.
Yeah, I mean, there were some obviously scientific inaccuracies. I mean, the one thing which I did have to ask is at the end when the hour has expired, why didn't the bits of the submarine expand and grow and destroy everything in the lab? Because I mean, how was it physically destroyed? I think
from what I remember, Donald Pleasance were in the submarine, and
he was in there.
They had to get to the eyeball because the submarine got attacked, didn't it, by the antibodies?
Right, by the antibodies, yeah.
And they had to swim out quick, and they came out through the dude's eyeball, didn't they?
That's right.
Because they put them on that glass thing. It was.
And then they went back to the place where originally it was miniaturized, and they grew back from the slide into the film side.
The sound effects to it were freaky. You remember when that guy were on hospital bed and he had all his body marked out in territories where they were moving?
Well, I have not done
Crazy.
it yet, but I will try and edit some weird sound effects in the background as we're talking now, and I'll do it. I like the sound effects. Yeah.
It was like they were experimenting with something new at the time, like Forbidden Planet. Experimenting with so much in that, and Fantastic Voyage. It's so underrated, but it's a masterpiece of a movie. It really is. I mean, I don't know. Even now, I think the kid inside I freaked out when I first saw that.
Yeah.
I really did. It took a while to sort of get used to it, really.
Well, what I like about our podcast is that often, first of all, you just seem to have seen every single thing I've seen, which I think is really cool.
No, I haven't seen that.
You have. Every time I talk about a film, you say, I've seen that. I've seen the Langoliers from last week. You're there. It's good. I like that. And you've always got a good opinion about stuff.
I travel through time and space. I travel through time and space.
Is that what it is? Martin's time-traveling appeal. But yeah, like I said, it's one of those films, like War of the Worlds 53 version, like The Incredible Shrinking Man. It's one of those films that I cannot remember seeing for the first time. I've always remembered seeing it, and I've always loved it. Like I said, I'm just surprised. But do you think a lot of people would see it now, or do you think it looks too dated?
Oh yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think I'd say probably our demographic of age group. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we all grew up on it, you see. We knew about it. I don't know how a new generation would take to it, actually.
That's what I was wondering. I think, because my son has seen, I think he's seen Inner Space. I don't think he has seen the original one when he was younger. He liked it. He did like it. Right. So, but again, it's down to the individual. I think for the, aspects of it, which will obviously look dated. I mean, we always have the attractive female in it who's more there just to be visually appealing to the film in some ways, but I don't mind that. You don't mind that, but I don't know. Like I said, I still think it holds up well, but I do think it's definitely due a remake of some sort.
Well, if you're looking at Wikipedia now, the sequel book, I've never read it. I've read the Wikipedia of it. I'd like to get hold of the book. This time, the CMDF goes into an extraterrestrial.
Oh, now that would be interesting.
Yes, a UFO crashes.
Area 51 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that.
They get an alien body, and they have to save the alien, and they don't know what they're doing. So they send the submarine and the crew inside the alien. But
definitely.
There's a twist, because the alien don't have sex. It's got nanites inside him, the alien.
Or like a Borg or something.
Yeah, and the medical staff that stood round the table start getting taken over by the aliens' cells, and they have to put it down. It's like this whole thing inside this alien, and it starts infecting the people in the real world, and they do stop it, but it's fascinating. That would blow the first one out of the.
Well, I'm looking at some other information about this because I'm out to potential later adaptations. The film was adapted to a Fantastic Voyage video game in 1982.
Oh.
And then in 1987, there was Fantastic Voyage Destination Brain, which was written by Isaac Asimov and was attempted to develop and present its own story apart from the 1966 screenplay. The novel is not a sequel to the original, but instead a separate story taking place in the Soviet Union with an entirely different set of characters. There's another interpretation. Fantastic Voyage Microcosm is a third interpretation written by Kevin Anderson, published in 2001. This version has the crew of the Proteus explore the body of a dead explore the body of a dead alien that crash lands on Earth and updates the story with such modern concepts as nanotechnology, which you've already said all this, replacing killer white cells. So that's it, you're already ahead of me. And there's a comic book adaptation of the film released by Gold Key Comics in 1967. The book followed the plot of the movie with general accuracy, but many scenes were depicted differently and or drops. And then he was given an epilogue similar to that scene of some of the early drafts of the film. And then there's a parody of the film titled Fantastic Voyage, was published by Man Magazine, illustrated by Mort Ducker and written by Larry Siegel, two members of the usual gang of idiots whose regular issue advertising, I don't know, there was a parody of it of some sort. Right. Then there's the animated series that you've seen in 1968. Yep. Then it says other similar themed works. The Invisible Enemy, 1977, was a 4-part British TV series. It's actually an episode of Doctor Who.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah. Doctor Who, I forgot about that.
Invisible Enemy did it. They did it in that episode.
He sort of cloned himself and put himself in his own head, didn't he?
And Leela went down. It was Leela and the Doctor. I remember that. I've got it. I forgot about that. So that was used in that. Then it mentions the 87 version Inner Space, which we've obviously talked about. There's another live-action animated comedy called Osmosis Jones. Never heard of that one.
No.
Somewhat opposite to Fantastic Voyage, stars a white cell cop trying to stop a deadly virus from destroying the human he guards. And then, like I said, there's other versions as well. I mean, there's Futurama has done an episode based on it. The Simpsons has done one on the Treehouse of Horrors. So it's quite often featured in animated series in some way.
It's grown very. I mean, there's been a lot over the decades in pop culture. Like you said, I knew about the so-called sequel, the other book, but I didn't know there was a computer game in the 90s on it.
Yeah, 1987.
I didn't know about that. That'd be interesting to look at.
This is also, it says cancelled sequel remake plans. It says plans for a sequel or remake have been in discussion since at least 1984. But at the beginning of July 2015, the project remained stuck in developmental hell. In '84, Isaac Asimov was approached to write the Fantastic Voyage 2, out of which a movie would be made. Asimov was sent a suggested outline that mirrored the movie Inner Space. Here we go, back to Inner Space again, and involved 2 vessels in the bloodstream, one American and one Soviet. What followed was a kind of submicroscopic version of World War III. Asimov was against such an approach following the dispute between publishers. The original commissioners of the novel approached Philip Farmer, who wrote a novel and sent in a manuscript, and was rejected despite sticking tightly to the outline from Asimov. It dealt with World War III in the bloodstream and was full of action and excitement, although Asimov urged the publisher to accept Farmer's manuscript. It was insisted that Asimov wrote the novel, so Asimov eventually wrote the book in his own way, completely differently from the what Farmer had written. So it's a Fantastic Voyage dealt not with competing submarines in the bloodstream, but one submarine with an American hero cooperating, not entirely voluntarily, with 4 Soviet members. So again, it goes back to the political aspect of the original movie, which is quite interesting, which aren't so apparent until you look at it now. And it's quite interesting that, because when you watch the film, you really just think about it as a guy who's got brain damage and they're trying to repair the injury. And of course, it's much more deeper than that. And it also says here that James Cameron was also interested in directing a remake since at least 1997, but decided to devote his plans to the Avatar project instead. He still remains open to the idea of producing a feature based on his own screenplay. And in 2007, 20th Century Fox announced a pre-production on the project was finally underway. Roland Emmerich, who of course we know from Stargate, agreed to direct, but rejected the script written by Cameron. Marion and Cormac Wibberley were hired to write a new script, but 2007, 2008, Writers Guild of America delayed filming because of their strike, and Emmerich began working in 2012 instead. So it's rumbling around. There's a couple of others, but it does still look like there are people who think like us that they could make a really good film out of it. So it is interesting.
I'd like to see the Alien one. That's the one I'd like to see.
I love that idea. I think that'd be great.
It's awesome.
I mean, what they really should do is they should make remake the original again, and if it proves to be really big, which I think it would be, I think that is really an area which could prove to be a big film. Then do the sequel with the Alien in Area 51 kind of thing. I think
you could do the Alien without doing the original. I think you could.
Maybe
I just
do it.
Alien,
yeah.
The idea is so unique that Alien crashes on Earth, a Cold War going on instead of Russia, it's China. A similar sort of plot. They get inside the alien body, some weird shit in there that's going to affect the world, and they have to stop it. And they're way out of the league with it, but it gets all weird. And when they get in there, they could meet I don't know, it's like the nanites are intelligent, you can communicate with them because we're that size. I don't know, it's all pretty weird, and I mean, it'd be amazing if you could do that.
Yeah.
I cannot understand why this is not being financed, especially with today's effects. It'd look incredible.
I know. I mean, like I said, as you said, it'd be different enough that, rather than just a standard remake, they can make it with this second story with the nanites and the alien aspect of it, which could be interesting.
But say they got injected in, they're in submarine Proteus, right? And they get down they're near your backside, but then suddenly you fart. And wouldn't it be like a big vortex that would fire them out? They're in stomach.
I love the way you say it so deadpan. Yeah, I suppose. I mean,
so they're in stomach. They're going headquarters. We're in the dangerous part now. The stomach.
How were they put in the body in the first one? Was it through the arm? Through an
well, it'll through a vein, won't it? But they have to get past the air. The air passes where and they're floating past the stomach, and then they get farted out.
Yeah, but if they got farted out, then the inertia they'll get splat in the submarine.
Yeah, that's true.
They wouldn't have unless they have anti-fart inertial dampeners.
Well, they could do, because they're being thrown out at Mach 10.
Yeah, because it'd be like accelerating from 0 to 2,000 miles per hour in 1 second through a fart. Fart speed, yeah. So I don't know.
Engage.
Yeah. Thank you for that observation.
I'm just saying. You know what? I mean, what if he wants a wee? And they're down there. I'm just saying. Yeah,
well, they could again, like in the space, they could make it. I'm sorry. Just to say, people, I've got this drunk guy in a supermarket behind me on my wallpaper, and I'm just watching him staggering about behind me.
Oh, didn't you see that other footage over there on YouTube? That guy went and used the dodgy cascade, and police came in and got him and his girlfriend. She escaped. He sacrificed his girlfriend, and she climbed up into a tunnel at back at shop. And she fell into the middle of the shop and nicked her.
I love these silly things that you get in the background. I know, but yeah, I mean, sorry.
Sorry, back to
no. That's me. I brought up the silly thing in the background. But the thing is, the way you're saying it with, say, fart speed, they could engage. Could they make it a more of a comedic film again? Or would you like it, or would you prefer it to be more of a sort of serious science fiction film like the original?
Well, what if they get injected into the wrong person, right? I can't I can't go there. I'm not going there. No. This is a family show. I can't go there.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah. I think
they gets injected into the wrong person. Well, and then he goes home and he starts. Well, he's watching an artistic movie, and they're trapped in the wrong body. Well, I'm just saying it's what they do. No, that's true.
No, it could be. I mean, like I said, I personally, I think that I'd like to see it as a serious film.
Yeah, I would. I like the Cold War aspect to it, me.
Because I think it
probably would be the Chinese. It wouldn't be Russia, but China. If they went with a similar thing, like a superpower thing, wouldn't it?
Well, I still think it's going to happen sooner or later. I don't know when they're going to do it, but it sounds like even if James Cameron's been involved with it, But like I said, I still wouldn't know what's going on with Avatar.
I mean, there is a lot of comedy value in it, though, isn't there? Do you know what I mean?
It could.
I mean,
be,
they didn't
could
sort
be
of
really
think
funny.
like that back then, did they? You know, today it's like
there's so many films with aliens and everything, but there's not a lot of films which feature militarization. Not really. I mean, and there's something Star Trek done. Star Trek did an episode with O'Brien and Bashir, and the runabout gets shrunk down.
Well, there's Ant-Man. There's Ant-Man.
Yeah, so let's have a think about
Ant-Man.
things in science fiction. So Ant-Man is 1. The Incredible Shrinking Man is 2. Obviously, Inner Space and the original Fantastic Voyage is 4. Star Trek did the Shrunken Runabout in DS9.
Oh, they did in DS9, yeah. Doctor Who.
But I don't know, and Doctor Who just mentioned it with the Invisible Enemy. But I don't think Star Trek's ever done any other shrinking episodes. I think that's the only episode that miniaturization has actually happened. Well, that's Sliders.
Yeah, I think there's been stuff where people have been shrunk. Oh, yeah, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Yes, I
vaguely remember that. Is that Rick Moranis or something?
Rick Moranis. I've not seen it. I've seen bits of it. I've never seen it
in years. That.
So there is I think there's definitely a void for it. It's not been covered that many times.
But there's nothing where they've filmed it inside a human body.
No, and I really think that is something which is definitely a void which could be filled by Hollywood, something they could develop and make money out of.
Well, you could do a TV series. You could do a TV series.
I'm surprised they've not done that already. Actually,
I'm surprised Netflix or. Who owns the film? Who owns the film? Is it MGM?
I think it was Fox. I said, wasn't it? I can't remember.
Well, Disney have got the rights to it. Then Disney now own that.
Yeah, I'm trying to see who originally Fantastic Voyage.
Disney own that if it's Fox.
I'm just trying to see who did it. Cast.
Because if it's Fox, it's Disney, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I think Disney are always looking for new things because they've got all the money.
Yeah.
So, and especially like with the volume and those sort of new sort of special effects things they're using now, which make some special effects a lot easier to produce because they're physically seeing the things in their environments when they're filming, and I reckon they could definitely do something with that. Yeah, so I'd like to say that I hope that it gets remade in some aspects sooner or later. I think it will, but like I said, it's not been as many shows or films which feature miniaturization, which is surprising because it is a very interesting concept. So bring it on. Let's have a new one with possibly the nanites, the aliens, or in some aspect somewhere.
Well, the Incredible Shrinking Man, they did the Incredible Shrinking Woman, didn't they? That was like a sequel, wasn't it?
Oh, and Q once shrunk Voyager to the size.
Yeah, it did.
And it ended up on a Christmas tree. Voyager.
So, the Incredible Shrinking Man, did he die at the end of that, or did he just keep on shrinking forever?
Well, the thing is, this is DS9 support this. DS9 said that there's only a certain size that a human can be outside and be able to breathe and to be able to assimilate.
Yeah, because the air molecules are
molecules get too big for the lungs to actually. And if you remember that episode, they actually transported some miniaturized air into the circuit board that they were trying to fix. In Incredible Shrinking Man, he got to the point where he's so small that he got out of this grate into a big sort of the outdoor, the garden of their house, which was in the basement, and he was sort of walked off, and he was sort of looking at the mystery of how he's going to exist and being part of nature, and he had a sort of open end.
But it's
really, he would have died of asphyxiation.
But inner space is like outer space; it's infinite. So
but you can't breathe. What I'm saying is, if he had like an astronaut suit on, then technically
good point.
That's the problem. You'd have to have a suit which was shrinking at the same time that he was shrinking, then he could continue to live. But the problem is that, of course, if you're just outside and you're breathing the air, eventually the lungs would not be able to breathe the oxygen molecules.
You wouldn't last 5 minutes in your back garden being that size, I'll tell you.
That's what I'm saying. And DS9 approached that and they gave us an answer to Shrinking Man. So but I mean, like I said, you can look at it in a real scientific matter, or the same as you always hear. It's like you always hear like sound in space whenever you watch a sci-fi film and stuff like that. And of course, it's silent apart from one or two things, but it's just one of those things. So Yeah, I'd like to see. I mean, again, Incredible Shrinking Man. That'd be another film I'd like to see remade. I think that could be good as well.
They'd said if tried to do that. That scared the living daylights out of me. That as a kid.
Scene with the spider and he's trying to get a lump of cheese and stuff. Like that. There's so many good scenes. And the cat was chasing him.
Land of the Giants.
Oh, Land of the Giants! Why?
Yeah.
Do you know what? I was trying to think of something where a miniaturized world, or of course, in that they weren't miniaturized; they were just on a planet which was just had its properties just bigger. But it was like a shrinking film. It's a series.
We should.
Land of the Giants. We've not done that.
We should do that. We should
right.
Do
okay.
that.
Right. A few weeks time, because I've got a few more. We're going to do Land of the Giants because that is one really looking to be done. Because we've done Time Tunnel, but we've not done that. And also, you mentioned this on Facebook, on YouTube. We've got to do Lost in Space as well.
Yeah. Somebody asked us to do a Bond film as well. David.
Okay.
He's a really nice guy. He said, "Could you do a Bond movie?" But it's got to be science fiction, hasn't it?
That's right. We've already done the one Bond film, which is science fiction's Moonraker, which we've done.
Yeah. What about Spy Who Loved Me, though? Wouldn't you class that as science fiction to a point?
Well, the thing is, a lot of James Bond films do have a science fiction element
in them. Yeah, they do.
And I don't mind it being. I'm not a sort of person who says, "Oh no, this is not good enough. This is," I'm quite easygoing, and. If you're up for it, I'm up for a Bond movie at some point.
Yeah,
definitely. We've got so many things to do. Yeah, put it on the list, definitely. So just to finish off, I really like this film. I think it's a classic. I hope it gets remade.
Definitely.
And thank you, Marty, for your opinion. I really always appreciate your ideas about it, and it was a classic. On that note, shall we go? We haven't got a ton, but we've got some news. Shall we go into our news of the week?
Yes, let's go into the news of the week.
All right, here's that jingle.
Working.
Solar Sci-Fi
News.
All right, so this week I haven't got a ton of news. We report last week that Babylon 5 is potentially being rated. When was that released? That news about that? Was that since last week?
I think we did that last week.
So we've already talked about that last week.
Yeah.
So, but we've got a bit of Doctor Who news. Apparently, at the moment, they're still filming Jodie Whittaker's last episode. Apparently, they're filming at filming at the Gates in Cardiff. There's a place in Cardiff that they're filming. The Gates Arts Centre in Roath section of Cardiff, which has been cordoned off. That's all going on at the moment. Of course, a lot of people are wondering what's happening with this, because we're now into the second week almost of October, and we know that this series of 13, even though it's shorter, is supposed to be shown between now and Christmas. So, time
November.
is ticking. So it's going to say here, it says apparently here, this is released today, 6th of October from our recording. It says the series 13 is landing imminently. SFX magazine thought the exact date has been embargoed, but the premiere series of the third season 13 is imminent. So as you just said, I think it will be November, because it's only 6 episodes, and then you'll have a gap between that and the
middle of December, then the Christmas special.
Yeah,
is the one on New Year's Eve then?
I think if it's the previous 2 years, we won't get a Christmas Day special. We'll probably get one on New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. I think that's what we've had in the last couple of years. So they'll probably have a short gap of at least 2 or 3 weeks.
So does she regenerate at Christmas then?
No, she doesn't. She will be in 3 specials next year, with Chris Chibnall still running it, and then she'll regenerate at the end. So no, we've got another year of her, I'm afraid. No. You want it to be gone now, do you?
Well, we're hoping to get rid of her by Christmas. I thought New Year, new start, get rid. And that. But that means I've got to endure that for another year. I'm sorry. It's just annoying, I'm so shocked by this at the moment. I wanted it Christmas Day to we get rid finally.
Yeah, I don't know. I said, I agree with you. I think I'm still open to seeing what they do. In the end, I think that Russell T Davies coming back is kind of like the last gasp, because if he they couldn't really find anybody else to take on the main role of producing the show. I don't think.
Well, they could have got me and you in. They could have got me and you in. We could have done it.
Yeah, but I don't know why there's always seems to be a shortfall of creative. I mean, there must be. Well, there are thousands of fans out there. A lot of experienced writers. Why is there a shortfall in actually getting someone?
I don't know. There's so many fan adaptations of it out there that are absolutely better than the crap I've had to sit through.
Yeah, or those audio. What's the name of those audio books that they do?
Oh, Big Finish.
Big Finish.
Yeah.
Sure, they've got people on that who could transfer.
I've got
over
some
and
of them.
make it.
I don't have them all. I've got a few, but they are very good. You know, they seem to have very good writing and very good directing on them. It's and then we get this. You know,
Russell T Davies is a fantastic writer. I do love
it.
I honestly, I'm feeling very confident about that. I know we talked about it already, but we were very, very pleased separately when we heard about that. And I still remember reading it and doing a sort of a double take, and like Russell T Davies is going out. What? So we were all so surprised about it. Which was amazing. Oh, I did hear. Now, do you remember the? This is a slight spoiler for the Book of Boba Fett, but there wasn't a Sarlacc, but there was a great creature in Return of the Jedi that Luke fought under Jabba's.
Rancor monster.
Yeah, apparently the first episode of Boba Fett is going to have one of those creatures in.
No, Rancor, right?
Yeah, apparently that's going to be, because obviously the one in Return of the Jedi died. But apparently you're going to see another one. Apparently it's going to be slightly lighter coloured skin or something, or it's a female.
Oh, right.
Doesn't matter. Right. What I'm saying is,
they'll end up doing something to it, won't they?
Oh yeah. But I mean, so and what news have you got? Because I haven't got a ton of news this one.
Well, Klaatu Barada Nikto is 70 years old.
Hang on, that is We Come in Peace for All Mankind. Hang on. Oh, what's that film called? I like the film. I like it because it was remade with Keanu Reeves.
Yes.
Not This Island Earth. Go on. I can't remember what it's called. What's it called?
I forgot myself. So. I've got it. I forgot myself now.
I love it. We both have got the name of the bloody...
I've got it. Hang on. The Day the Earth Stood Still.
Oh, that's it. Sorry. Jeez. What's the matter with this?
I looked at the big Klaatu Barada Nikto.
Oh, when you said that, but we're supposed to be science fiction experts. How come we both couldn't remember the name of the bloody thing? Sorry.
I apologise.
That was both of us. We both had a brain fart there. 70 years old. That's incredible. I mean, because I like this remake. I actually thought
did. You know,
a lot of people hated it. I actually thought it was quite good.
I didn't mind it. I watched it recently, and that and War of the Worlds actually, and
I don't mind the War of the Worlds either. Not the BBC one. Not the BBC one.
No, we don't talk about that.
No. The Tom Cruise one. The Tom Cruise one. I think it's got a lot of good aspects of it. I've always thought that. And the same one with Keanu Reeves as well. So isn't it funny how some people, like, we often like certain things, some people just can't stand it, they pan it. But no, I think it's good.
I've got something. I've got something for you though.
What's that? Oh, okay.
Stargate actors reuniting for a unique episode.
They are? What you mean? This is going to be funded by
Giant
AGM.
Freaking Robot. I've got it in front of me. The much teased Stargate reboot may take some time to pitch forward more concrete developments. Meanwhile, online magazine The Companion and the series co-creator Brad Wright are bringing together some of the franchise's most beloved casts for a unique table reading episode where they will each play their iconic characters. But there's a twist in the script. Won't be penned by Wright and will instead be formulated by Google Artificial Intelligence. The Stargate table reader is currently scheduled to premiere online Saturday, November the 6th. Currently, the 4 cast members from the series have been confirmed to return and reprise their respective characters for the AI script reading.
Wow, that's great.
And it's all of them, yeah. I know it's Amanda Tapping, Michael Shanks,
Richard Dean Anderson.
Jennifer Keller. As Jill State and Michael Shanks taking the talk about the appearance. Yeah, they're all on it. Yeah.
That's a series where I'm still waiting to hear some news about a potential new series.
Well, the deal's still going through.
Is it still going through?
Because it's like billions and billions. It won't. I think it's next year it finalises because there's so much.
Because that is another series which is desperate. That has got a huge fan base and will be big when it comes out. If it's
Amazon, trust me, Amazon. This is a given. Amazon are going to finance that.
They'll have to. Stargate's too big. It's one of the biggest series. I mean, it's one of the best series.
It's a multi-billion-dollar franchise, and Amazon are going to think people are going to pay for this. If they get it right, people will pay to watch that weekly.
Yeah, because it's
they will.
A ton of episodes.
I would.
I mean, they made 200 at SG1. I think they made about over 100 for Atlantis. They made about 40.
10 seasons, wasn't it? Of
10 seasons of SG1 and 5 of Atlantis, plus the TV movies. And like I said, it's in one. I mean, my top 4 sci-fi series or franchises, probably similar to yours, are Doctor Who, the Star Trek series, the Stargate series, and the Star Wars series. They're my top 4. What are your top 4?
I'd say my first one is UFO, then Star Trek, Stargate, Doctor Who, and Babylon 5.
I've got to see UFO. I've never seen it.
I do recommend UFO.
I know you do. I will check
impressed.
It out.
It's like the prequel to Space 1999.
I think what put me off was the weird haircuts and stuff. But if it's good sci-fi stories, then you know I
oh God, you're gonna. I don't even want to spoil. I envy you because you're gonna get to watch all some episodes of it, and the characters are amazing. UFO is 20-30 years beyond its time with the story writing.
Yeah, but I appreciate your opinion. Like I said, I do like Dark Matter, which you got me into as well. So definitely, I'd certainly like to try that out. So that's it for news my end. Unless there's anything else that you've come across.
I think I might have one more thing. There haven't been much this week.
No, it's been a bit of a quiet week. I was
abandoned Next Generation sequel to The City on the Edge of Forever.
Oh, what the Next Generation? We're going to go back to The Guardian Forever?
Yeah, they was going to make they wanted to make an episode where past Spock beats future Spock, and there's a team of scientists working round the time door thing, and
The Guardian of Forever.
Young Spock comes through it, and then but they've got old Spock. And at the end of it, it's old Spock makes young Spock forget. So there was some story like that, yeah.
Okay.
The story, groundbreaking. Hang on. Fortunate in his child yesterday. It must be categorized as. There was some. They're on about stories in the books, but there was the Next Generation episode where they were going to do it, but it never happened. Probably.
No. I mean, it always comes down to money, and of course, eventually they got Leonard Nimoy in Unification 2-parter, which was okay. But I think that
it was a bit disappointing.
It was. I mean, I remember watching that and thinking, that was okay. I kind of thought it'd be a lot more than that. I thought Relics, which was the next one with Scotty, was much better.
Oh, that's superb! What a fantastic episode!
It was just, it was almost like,
and it was so right as well.
Yeah,
it worked out so right, and they couldn't do that with the 2-parter with Spock.
No, and it's funny because they recently did Unification 3 with Discovery, and I thought that episode was really, they didn't do much to me at all, unfortunately.
No.
Although you saw a hologram of Spock, which was a nice scene from that episode, but it's
like Spock's got this like unknown family. I mean, he's got a sister now, and then we found out he had a brother, and then
Cyborg,
and then there were other members of the family. I mean, Star Trek were definitely putting it around the galaxy, weren't they? yeah. Every 7 years a new one pops up.
I'd like to see Cyborg again. I wouldn't mind seeing Cyborg.
Yeah, I'd like to happen to him.
We've only ever seen him once in Final Frontier, and I think that his character, who embraced emotions.
I was fascinated by Cyborg.
I thought that was really cool, and I thought that the guy that played him in the film, even though the film's panned, the film, although it has a lot of bad elements, there are some aspects of the film I still quite enjoy.
To be honest, I thought it was all right.
I didn't think it was. I think it was
down now.
No, I mean, I
enjoyed it.
For Star Trek movies, probably one of the weakest ones for me was Insurrection. I think Insurrection is probably the weakest.
I agree. No, Nemesis for me.
I quite like Nemesis. I prefer Nemesis to Insurrection. But again, we all like different things, don't we?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It was like my
Nemesis had a lot of potential. Originally, it was going to be Law that steals the starship.
Really?
It's what the one idea is that Law they rebuild him, and he ends up getting a starship, and this crew. Starship's like it's like a warship. It's really super, and he flies off course in destruction.
Well,
the Enterprise put a stop to him, and Data sacrifices himself, which
still
I would have
hoping-
preferred.
I'm still hoping we'll see Laura again in Picard or something, because he
where is
wasn't
he?
destroyed. He was deactivated.
Well, that's
So
what I mean.
surely, like B4, we saw him in that lab. Who was just like in bits in a drawer or something. Surely, Laura is the same
where's Laura?
aspect.
That's you see again. That was a major thing.
Why did they not do that? I thought Laura was going to be in Picard. It never was. We saw B4 and he was just shut down.
Yeah,
So he's not working. That's the end of it. And we just saw it. Like, here we are. Why is it not going to be activated? We want to see, Brent Spiner in the data makeup again, and they just showed him.
Where is Laura?
What a waste of time. No, I know.
Yeah.
Oh well. We'll have to see. Oh, one piece of news. Did you hear that they might have a starship in season 3 of Picard?
Yes. They
Now
were a name for it as well.
I don't know about the name of it, but I mean, that sounds good. I mean, if you can have a Federation starship in season 3 of Picard, that gets me. I know it's really nerdy, but that gets me excited.
No, I want him back in the uniform going.
Not
not
the La Serena in, because I didn't like that ship at all.
You mean the ladder? You mean the outer space ladder?
I've not heard it called that before. La Serena, I think it's called. It looks like a Transformers toy. It looks horrible.
Well, it looks like it's all right. I mean, it's. I liked him as a character. But I think he's a good actor. But that ship, it was all right. Well, I want a bloody starship.
Yeah, I want a Federation starship. I'd like to see Picard back in the Starfleet uniform.
Sat in the big chair.
I want Starfleet.
Engage.
Yeah,
Engage
exactly.
the fart drive, number 1.
I reckon he's going to be back in proper Starfleet. I reckon that they're going to manage to persuade him to put the uniform on and just do 10 episodes as a Starfleet admiral, and then I don't know. We'll have to see. All right, Martin. I think that's about it.
One more news.
Yeah,
William
go
Shatner is going into space at 90. I forgot about
I know. I did read that the other day. And I was going to mention that. How do you feel about that? Do you think it's a good thing? I think it's really cool myself.
I think it's a nice fitting. I think it's fitting for him, actually.
I think it's a really what a way to, and he'll be the oldest person ever to be in space. I mean,
it's just so bloody cool, isn't it? Go on, William Shatner. You're doing
Go for it.
mate.
Yeah. I think it's great. I mean, I think that's a wonderful thing. And I suppose after that, they'll probably be asking Patrick Stewart to go to space next as well. Wouldn't it be great if you got all the Star Trek captains in one? But then I'm always terrified that something's going to go wrong. I know it sounds paranoid, but you kind of worry about. But apparently, the way that they get into space with the rocket fuel that they use apparently is a lot more stable than the old NASA fuel. Well,
you were sat on the bomb, weren't you? You were sat on the bomb, weren't you?
Whatever they're doing now apparently is, I don't know why it's now safer, but it's less combustible or explosive or something. It must be combustible, but less explosive.
Would you go up there if you had a chance? Would you do it?
I don't even like flying. When I went to America, I shite myself about 15 times. I mean, it was like, I don't know. I would. Like, I would.
It's all. I think I'd like to go up on like a 24th century shuttlecraft with anti-gravity drive. It just
if you got
takes you up nicely like that.
Just see the world.
Instead of sat there strapped to a bomb under your ass, like
that's the thing, isn't it? It's the G-force and all the things like that.
I'd like to land properly as well, like a Star Trek. Just come down nice and smooth like that, not with parachutes. But we will get there one day.
Yeah, I just hope that. I mean, I'm hoping that in our lifetimes we're going to see a lot more with regards to space exploration in the next 10, 20 years.
Well, I love it when them rocket pods land. When they land.
Yeah, they actually land like something like Space 1999.
Yeah, they're like an eagle, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like an eagle landing. So it's getting there, but it's still once they can sort of get to space easier, then we'll go back to the moon. We can think about colonizing Mars, and it'd be like expanse for real life, which would be quite interesting. So as long as there's not the belters out there, and you are in the belters. I love the accent. That's coming back in December as well, isn't it? It's coming back quite soon.
I heard we won't get it till after January.
Oh, is it? Oh, because originally it was. I think unless it's been.
It's only 6 episodes.
Oh, that's right. You said about that last week, didn't you?
Yeah. There's a new series on the 14th with Katie Sackhoff.
Oh, right, okay. What's she up to these days?
Well, she did season 1. It's the probe from an alien planet comes to Earth.
Right.
And it lands. And I don't know, they get some machines, the scientists, to build this starship. And it's in the future, about 2080 or something like that. And it's the first deep space probe. They go to where the aliens come from, these probes. And they find out they're destroying worlds. And they meet the first aliens. It's on season 1's on Netflix right now.
Okay.
It's about 10 episodes.
Okay.
I'll get the name for it. If you can type in Katie Sackhoff.
All right. I'll be able to remember that.
Season 1 is on. It's on Netflix right now. But season 2 is out on the 14th of October, which all 10 episodes. And they've got a weapon on ship or something where they destroys one of these alien probes. You don't know they are. They go to this primitive planet and they've decimated the population. And there's one on Earth. So I think they're coming to do it to Earth as well. So, but they're on this mission to stop it. So it's season 2 next week. Yeah.
Really? And Star Trek Lower Decks nearly finished season 2. It's only got 2 more episodes. I'm going to try and watch some. When it finishes, I will try and watch a few episodes, I think.
I'm up to episode 6. That one.
I've only seen episode 1.
I wasn't impressed with it. I watched the episode. I was like, yeah, it's all right. I mean,
without giving spoilers, why are you not impressed? Is it because it's just an animated series, or what is it you don't like about it?
I don't know. I'll watch it, but it's like I enjoy Clone Wars. That's animated. I love that. I don't know. I just can't seem to.
Don't click with it.
Sort of fully relate.
Is it because it's more of a comedy rather than a proper sort of? I mean, Clone Wars is
maybe
quite a good drama.
It could be.
Clone Wars wasn't. I mean, the thing is, Lower Decks in some ways strikes me slightly almost a parody of its own self, Star Trek.
Yeah.
And Clone Wars has never done that. It was a proper sort of expanding that part of the Star Wars universe and the prequels to link to those films towards the original trilogy, which I really like. Sorry, take your phone.
I'm gonna have to take this, mate.
All right. Well, shall we say goodbye?
All right. Yep. Hang on. Hello, Linda. Hang on. Sorry.
Okay. Well, look, I think Martin's finishing off a phone call now, so I think we'll finish off at this point. So this week we're going to finish off with Marvin, the paranoid android, from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. He sang a few songs back at one point. So we will see you next week on the Solar One and Sci-Fi podcast. Sorry for the abrupt ending, but thank you very much. We'll catch you next time.
I'm just a robot and I know my place. A metal servant to the human race. I work my can off trying to satisfy. I know they'll disconnect me by and by. Chip on my shoulder made of silicon. My printed circuits like a lexicon. 10 billion logic functions, maybe more. They make me pick the paper off the floor. Solitary, solenoid, terminally paranoid Marvin. Know what really makes me mad? They clean me with a Brillo pad. A car wash wouldn't be so bad. Life, don't talk to me about life. I'm so depressed I could expectorate. My moving parts are in a solid state. I want to rust in peace, switch off and lie in that great junkyard in the sky. Solitary solenoid, terminally paranoid Marvin. Nothing left to be enjoyed, every diode rheumatoid Marvin. Outer alloy in a void Marvin. Happiness has been destroyed.